Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to discuss a topic that's on a lot of people's mind, whether or not you should move to Los Angeles. Now, this video is not intended to bash Los Angeles. There's a lot of great places in and around the city, but trust me, there's some compelling reasons why you might want to reconsider moving to Los Angeles. So let's get into it right now. All right, so the first reason is going to be its overwhelming size. The city of Los Angeles is about 500 square miles, and there's about 4 million people in that area. So it can be overwhelming. It can be overcrowded in some places. And if you like to have your little space, you might want to reconsider moving to actually into the city of Los Angeles. And at the end of the day, if you're, some people are okay with that. Some people, are moving in from other big cities. But if you want you want a tight knit feel, it can be a little hard to get that in a city of that size. And it can be, it can be overwhelming. So if you're looking for more space, if you're looking for a less crowded area, you might want to look elsewhere. Another reason is Los Angeles has a very competitive job market, and the wages don't always match the cost of living. So you might want to consider that. There's a lot of other places around Los Angeles that you can, work in, but if you want to live in Los Angeles, the cost is going to be a lot higher. Point number 3 is the traffic. So Los Angeles is known across the country and around the world for having one of the worst traffic situations. So, if you haven't been to Los Angeles before, you haven't driven in Los Angeles, it pretty much any day of the week, you can experience what I'm talking about. The traffic, sometimes it could take you to go 10 miles, it could take you an hour. So, and I know how I get in traffic, like when I have to go sit in LA traffic and I come home, it's like, oh my God, it's like, it's very stressful, and it can be very stressful. So if traffic's a thing for you, you might want to look elsewhere. I know I keep saying look elsewhere. In general, Los Angeles, the areas, the surroundings around Los Angeles are very nice. But if traffic's a thing for you, I don't know what to tell you, but it's bad. It can be bad. Not always, but a lot of the time it's bad. Real quick, if this is your first time to the channel, subscribe and tap the notification bell so that you'll be the first to know about the real estate market in Southern California. My name is Steve Batiste, and I'm the broker owner of Next Home West Realty, and we get calls, emails, and texts every single day from people just like you looking to make their move into Southern California. So if that's you, don't be shy. Give me a call, send me a text, or shoot me an email. I'd love to help you make a smooth transition into the area. Another point about living in Los Angeles, and I mentioned it earlier, is the housing costs. Now, home prices for what you get in Los Angeles are going to run, minimum probably $700,000-800,000 if you actually want to live in the city, and that's for a small place. So if you go out, you venture out a little ways, you can get a bigger home for the same cost. You can have a better quality of life once you're off work. If you want to drive, or if you're a commuter, or if you work from home, there are places about an hour and a half outside of Los Angeles, an hour, just again, depends on the traffic, but there are places that you can find homes for a lot less. So, just as an example, if you drive out to, Riverside County, Murrieta, Corona, Temecula area, you can start to find homes around $700,000, and these are bigger homes. Now, you can find homes in LA for $700,000. You can find homes close to and around LA, condos for $500,000. I want to say $400,000, but that's getting even more rare, as time goes on. But out in Riverside County and Corona, areas you can find homes that are bigger for the same price. Now, if you move down to Orange County, for example, you can find homes in less crowded. I was going to say smaller, but less crowded neighborhoods that for the same price, a little bit bigger, but overall the quality of life is going to be better outside of that. Now, I know there's going to be people that are going to say, well, the quality of life in Los Angeles is great, and yeah, you know what, there's something to be said about living in a big city and just being able to like walk to work or ride your bike or but speaking of which, the mass transit system in LA, it's not like you would see in like New York City or Washington DC, where you just jump on the subway and get off in a couple of stops and you're there. It's very different. In LA, you almost have to have a car. So if you're working in downtown LA, just do yourself a favor, take a look in the surrounding areas, the surrounding cities, and just to see what you can get. For the same price you're buying in downtown LA, you can go out, further out and get a lot more for your money. Another point to mention in LA is the quality of life and what you're going to find in the city. So you will find a lot of homelessness in a lot of the cities in Los Angeles County. The further out from the city you go, the less you'll see that. But to give you an example, if you go down to Venice Beach, which is a very nice city, it's always been a really nice city, and it's known around the world, you'll find right next to multi-million-dollar homes, you'll find homeless encampments. They have moved those homeless encampments back away from those homes somewhat, but it's there. And when you have the weather that we have out here, you're going to see that a lot of people, you can live outside all year round, whereas if you're back in New York City or Washington DC, like I mentioned earlier, it gets cold during the winter and you're not going to be wanting to live out on the street. But LA, Southern California, 70 degrees, 75. During the winter it does get cold, but not as cold as it does in DC or LA. So I think that actually adds to the homeless problem that we are seeing now in Los Angeles, and the city of Los Angeles is trying to work on that. But as of right now, you're going to see homeless people everywhere you go. Now, the further out you go, if like again Temecula, Murrieta, Corona is not as bad as LA. You still have homeless problems, and even in Temecula, Murrieta, very, very, very rare to see that in those cities. And if anybody doubts it, go to LA and look at that, and then go back to Temecula or Murrieta, and you'll see a huge difference. No denying it. But the city's working on it. As you move down into Orange County, like move into Seal Beach, Huntington Beach, Newport Beach, Laguna Beach, you're going to see even less of homelessness the further south you go. Let me just say that. One of the contributing factors to that is LA handles it differently. Los Angeles County handles it differently than Orange County and even Riverside County. So, just keep that in mind. Your quality of life might be affected by that. Now let's talk about Orange County. Orange County is you could still find homes in the $600,000 range. Condos you can find around $450 on up. Of course, those are going to be further back from the ocean. If you're wanting to move down closer to the ocean for a condo, you're looking at $1 million, $900,000. There's some new condos coming up. Actually, in LA, in Long Beach, in downtown Long Beach, which has gotten a lot better over the years. New condos down there starting around $900,000. But once you go into Orange County, your price point is down a little, the closer to the beach you go, the more expensive it is. Huntington Beach, again, if you're down around the beach, you're looking at like 1.5 million minimum. Anywhere, close to PCH, or 5 blocks in from PCH, all the way up and down the coast right there. And it's just a beautiful city. People love the atmosphere. They love being able to walk around. They love all the shops on Main Street. Once you get down into Newport Beach and Balboa Peninsula, I mean, it's incredible. So there is a cost for that. Balboa Peninsula, you're looking at a minimum of $2 million for a single family home, if you can find one at that price. I mean, I know as time goes on and this video ages, it's the prices are going to go up, but in general, the closer to the beach, the more expensive. As you get into Santa Ana, even Yorba Linda, if you get like northeast Orange County, you can find homes that are less expensive and really great neighborhoods. So, that's definitely a plus. As far as Riverside County goes, Riverside County is huge. If you're in, Corona, Riverside, Temecula, even Lake Elsinore, Murrieta area, you can find homes in, South Riverside County for $350 on up. The further out you go, again, the further east you go into, Riverside County, the lower the cost of the homes are going to be. So, it's basically based on the proximity to the city. So, Murrieta and Temecula area, they're very close to San Diego, North County, San Diego. I do have clients that live in Murrieta that commute to LA for work. So there is a drive to it. It can be an hour and a half, depending on how far you go into LA. It could take you even longer on certain days. There's a toll road that you can pay, basically you put a tag on your car, and you have an account, and mine's like $100 a month, and they pull it out of my account. And if I don't use the full $100 this month, it rolls over, and then they reload it, every month. But, that toll road is a lifesaver. There's a lot of toll roads in Southern California, so just keep that in mind. So again, if you're interested in moving to the area, into Southern California, Orange County, Riverside County, or San Diego County, just hit me up, send me a text, shoot me an email, give me a call. I would love to help you move into the area. I also work in South LA County, getting down into LA. If you need help there, I can definitely assist you on that too. But I would, just highly recommend looking at the surrounding areas. I mean, Los Angeles is known around the world for, its weather and its scenery and its Hollywood scene, but there's a lot more to it than that. So, just keep that in mind before you make that move. And if you need anything, just reach out to me. I'd love to help.